My name is Dave Ray, and I am an amplifier technician that's been working in the San Francisco Bay Area for over 40 years. I'm here to talk about an amplifier that I designed for a company called Magic Parts, and they sell Rubytubes and the Ruby brand. And this is the amp behind me. It's called the Ruby Ray. If you want to skip part of this section of this lecture, you can go to the timestamp and jump forward to the listening parts where Brody is playing. What makes me kind of unique as a guitar amp tech is I have worked with many really super fine guitar players over the last 30-something years. And in working with other guitar players and modifying and tweaking their amps to sound the way they want them to sound, I learned so much by just listening to their guitars, how they play, and listening to their feedback, telling me, "Do you hear this, Dave? That's what I want. Can we get my amp to do this?" And then when we dial it in, they go, "Yeah, that's what I like. That's exactly what I want." And by working with so many different guitar players, I've taken records, I've taken notes, and I have records of all of those journeys. And so when I looked at the Ruby Ray design, all these little things that I did are not based on my opinions or what I feel is good. I'm not even a guitar player. I'm actually a drummer. But all these little things I did are based on my journeys over the years of working with guitar players, modifying their amps to sound the way they want them to sound. And basically, that sound is the enhancement of the instrument, the best way it can be done. So here was my basic idea that I had, that I approached Donnie at Magic Parts. I said, let's make a Bones Basic, really good sounding amplifier. Low wattage, relatively lightweight, something that guitar players are looking for today. The days of big giant stacks of Marshalls they're still there, but they're not as common as they used to be. And so that's what the Ruby Ray amplifier is. It's a 20 watt / 8 watt, which I'll get into later, but basically it's a 20 watt all tube amplifier using a full-size reverb tank, and inside is standard 12AX7 technology, 6v6 technology, GZ34 technology for the rectifier, for the power supply. But there are special things that I did in every nook and cranny of this amplifier to enhance the way it allows a guitar to respond through it. And that's kind of the special part of the Ruby Ray. It's not like anything out there, and when people play through it, they always look up at me and they go, "Wow, I think I want one of these." And so I'm gonna, in the next segment, explain briefly the little nooks and crannies of what I did inside this amplifier to make it be the special amp that it is. What I'm going to do briefly, because I don't want to get too technical here, is I'm going to walk through the amplifier and just point out the little things that I did that change it from being a Fender or a Marshall or a common amp, that make it a little more magical than most amps are. I'm going to talk about the first stage of gain. This is a block diagram, by the way, of the amplifier's function. The guitar signal comes in, it goes through one stage of gain, the next, the tone circuitry, the driver stage that drives the output tubes. This is the output section, the speaker, and this also shows the power supply. So I'm going to start with the preamp area. The very first preamp stage, which is really important in a guitar amp. I have some subtle resistor changes and capacitor changes from Fender or Marshall that I've learned over the years enhance the guitar pickup, because that's where the guitar pickup's coming in. So I've employed those in that circuit, which makes it a little bit more special than a normal preamp circuit. Then in the next stage, I've got some EQing going on, EQing meaning tone circuitry modification, where later you will learn the tone circuitry has a pull knob on the volume control that changes the EQ, changes the basic tone circuitry sound, and we're gonna get into that. So that's the specialty in stage 2. In stage 3, I'm employing a thing called a cathode follower. Basically, it's a buffer stage that allows the stage B to be buffered 100% away from the impedance changes of the tone circuitry. And so a buffer stage is something that Fender used to do in the Tweed era, but they quit doing it in the blackface era. But Marshall did it all the way up until about the 80s, and then Marshall kind of went nuts and did a million different things. But it's something that I learned years ago. It dramatically enhances just the harmonic quality of the tone circuitry. So I've put buffer stages in many amplifiers, even blackface Fenders, just to help them sound a little nicer. So I employed that. The tone circuitry is very Fender, but not exactly. But when you do the pull on the volume control, there's a pull knob, which we'll demonstrate later. It shifts the center point of frequency in the mid-range from Fendery more to like British amps, Marshall, Vox, all the high watts, all the cool British amps. And so you get 2 whole textures of tones by the setting of that pull. Now when we go to the driver stage is a balanced 2-plate driver stage taking a full 12AX7 tube. I don't use a 12AT there. I use a 12AX. It's the full one, not the other ones that isn't as good. And I have some sweetening things that I added to that take the harshness out of the high frequencies as they're coming down the pike. And signals are getting pretty big over here, so there's a lot of dramatic electronic phenomenon going on at the driver stage. Now, the output section is really something super unique because it's 2 6V6 tubes, but they're not cathode biased or fixed bias. They're both. And that's something I've never, ever seen in a guitar amp. And what it is, it's a combination of cathode and fixed, and it's an adjustable fixed bias. So that there's a trim pot in there to set it. And what that does is that gives the 6V6s the sound of cathode biasing, which is sweeter and more laid back, more compressy, and it mixes it with the aggressiveness of fixed bias, so the amp has a little more balls than a regular cathode biased amplifier. And then also I've included spike suppression diodes, and what that does is when you overdrive the output section, the harsh spikes that occur from inductive kick in the output transformer, they're attenuated out so you don't hear them. They're gone. They're absorbed by these 2 diodes, and what that does is that makes the amp overdrive much smoother. And rock guys that play through this amp, they turn around and look at me and they go, wow, it's so smooth when I overdrive it. Well, that's one of the secrets why. And also, last but not least, I'm employing a hemp cone 12-inch tone tubby speaker because over the years I worked for for Tone Tubby Company for about 6-7 years, and I've learned that one of the sweetest sounding guitar speakers ever is the 4040, which is a hemp coned 12-inch ceramic magnet guitar speaker, and I use that in this amplifier. Another last thing is that I didn't talk about yet is I'm running the 6V6s in normal class AB pentode mode, but I have on the front of the amplifier a triode pentode switch we will demonstrate later. And what that does is that puts the 6v6s into triode mode. And triode configuration, as a lot of people know, what it does is it converts the output section from a pentode circuit to a triode circuit. It lowers the efficiency of it, lowers the power, but there's a phenomenon with triode. And the phenomenon with triode is it has a magic sweetening effect on the high end. So when you put it in triode mode, the whole 20 watt amp drops down to an 8 watt amp, and it's just sweeter and silkier sounding. And a lot of guitar players who have never heard triode before, when they try that, they look at me and they go, wow, that's really nice. And last but not least, by far, is the power supply itself. The power supply is a rectifier tube supply, not a diode solid state supply. And using a rectifier tube has the benefits of softening the B plus voltage that supports all of the circuitry. And so I'm using a GZ34, which is the 5AR4 American version. It's the one that a lot of many amps, Vox AC30s, and many amps used, especially lower wattage amps. And people love that tube. And what I'm doing is I'm using the rectifier tube so that it softens the power supply, but I've also added what's called a series buffer resistor. And what that does is that takes the stress off of the GZ34 as it's pumping current into the filter network. It takes stress off that tube, so it's not working as hard, but it has the other effect of adding extra softness to the power supply. So the power supply is kind of double spongy, and people like that because when you sustain notes or just crank up, the whole amp has a natural compression to it. And with the combination of that power supply being like that and having the output section be pentode, triode, they all just add up to sounding different than any guitar amp. And then last but not least, I said that before, I think, the filter network it's not a heavily filtered amplifier. And that's one of the secrets of guitar amplifier design. If you want them to break up and sound sweet and not be in your face and punchy, you want them to be mellow, is you add minimum filtering. You don't put extra size filters like boogies do and a lot of amplifiers do, and that makes the power supply stiffer and it gives the amp more punch, but I didn't want that with the Ruby Ray. I wanted it to be sweet and mellow. So that's the combination of everything that makes the Ruby Ray really cool. I don't think I've forgotten anything. I may have, but we are going to do some demonstrations soon here coming up, and Brody's going to be playing guitar through it, and I'm going to kind of show you the EQ and the pull mid switch and the triode pentode, and Brody's going to play sweet and pretty stuff, and then he's going to crank it up and play some rocker stuff, and you'll get to hear it all. Hi, here we are. I'm with Brody, my buddy, on guitar, and now we're going to demonstrate the Ruby Ray amplifier with a live guitar player showing us what this amp can do. The first thing I want to do is introduce Brody.
Hello.
Brody Valentino, extraordinary guy, great musician, teacher, good dresser. Anyway, the first thing I want to demonstrate is the volume control has a high compensation circuit on it that make it so if you want to play the amplifier super low volume, you don't lose the high end. And I'm going to demonstrate that. First I'm going to bring it up to a normal level. Okay, and now I'm going to fade it down while he's playing down to almost zero, and listen to how the high end stays there. It's still in there. Even there, the high end is in there. So I'm going to bring it up gradually, and the EQ stays about the same through all of the sweeping of the volume control pot. Okay, now I want to demonstrate the responsiveness of the tone circuitry. One of the things that a lot of people have told me is the tone circuitry is super responsive, and they're going, wow, how did you do that? Well, there's reasons why it is. I won't get into that at this point, but I'm going to demonstrate it. So I'm going to start with the treble control, and I'm going to gradually bring it up from 12 o'clock, and then I'm going to gradually bring it down while Brody is playing, and you get to hear how responsive the tone circuit is. All right, go Brody. Okay, now I'm going to go below 12 o'clock. Okay, back up. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing with the mid control. Now back to 12, now below 12. All right, back up to 12 o'clock. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with the bass control. So maybe add a little more lower. There you go. Now I'm going to bring the bass notes up. There we go. I'm going to back it back down. All right, below 12 o'clock. All right, that's kind of cool. Now back, all right, so back up to 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock. That was my game plan. I wanted 12 o'clock across the board to be a usable and good tone. I learned that from Robert Hall, the guy that designed the Versatone amplifier. Anyway, so now I want to demonstrate the reverb. Should we do the reverb? Mm-hmm. Okay, the reverb has some unique things going on in there, and one of the things that I did was I did a unique type of buffering to the reverb drive circuit, and what it did was it allowed the fundamental dry note to stay prominent as you add more and more reverb effect, and it added a certain uniqueness to the reverb sound. And a lot of people that have played through this, they're telling me, boy, I really love the reverb. That's really cool. So I want to see if we can demonstrate that. So give me some plunky reverby stuff. I'm going to bring the reverb up. So can you hear how the dry note is kind of up front and the effect is behind it? I'll give it full reverb. A little. Walking the reverb back down. All right, and there's dry, which we haven't heard yet today. Okay, I'm going to add a little verb because I like it that way. Okay, now, one of the most cool things about this amp is included a mid-boost circuit. And the mid-boost circuit is on the pole. It's a pole switch on the volume control. And I'm going to put it back in for now. And what it does is it shifts the EQ to make the amp sound more like a British amp, more like the late 60s, early 70s Marshall, Hiwatt, Vox, that kind of mid-rangey British rock sound. The this accomplishes that with the Fender type EQ that's their stock. Anyway, I'm going to have Brody play, and then I'm going to pull this. Okay, now I'm going to pull it. Now I'm going to put it back in. All right, back out. Now I'm going to play around a little. Push it back in. Okay, last but not least, as they say, I'm going to show you how the triode pentode toggle switch works. As I mentioned before, in pentode mode, it's running the 2 output tubes in their standard pentode configuration, and it has a certain sound to it. It gives us the full 20 watts, and it makes the high end kind of a little brittle, a little more cutting edge to it. But in triode mode, which I will click soon, it puts it into a triode configuration, which lowers the wattage down to 8 watts from 20, and it sweetens up the whole high end and kind of gives it a kind of sweeter upper mids. And I'm going to demonstrate that, and then Brody's going to, since we're only on 8 watts in that mode, we're going to crank this sucker. All right, here we go. I'm gonna click it in a moment. Let's play one thing in pentode mode, and then I'll go to triode.
Okay.
Oh, I got to give you volume, don't I? Okay. All right, kind of bright in your face, punchy. Now go to triode. Back to pentode. Back to triode. Now I'm going to crank the volume, and we're really going to open this guy up. But it's only 8 watts, but we're doing it anyway. Now that's with the mid boost pulled. I'm going to put the mid boost back in, and you'll hear it's way different. Go. Yeah, he likes the mid. So we're gonna go back to the mid boost in triode mode, 8 watts. Now we're going to go back to pretty before we close this segment out. We're going to go back to pentode mode. That's clean. And we're going to bring the EQs back. I was kind of giving him some mid boost there and some brightness boost to kind of exaggerate the playing or whatever. Okay, now we're just going to play clean again. Okay, now we're going to change guitars.
Okay.
All right, now Brody's going to play a Fender Stratocaster guitar, which every guitar player on the planet Earth knows about and probably has 1 or 2 or 3. And it's a guitar that is single coil, as everyone knows. It sounds very different than a Les Paul. So it's a good contrast test of the Ruby Ray amp. So we're just going to let Brody play, and I'm going to slowly do a few things here and not talk too much about it. So I'm going to bring it up. Down a little bit. Bring the mids up. A little more bottom. Now I'm going to pull the mid boost and we'll just let them rip. You want to try another pickup?
Yeah, this is going to be the
neck pickup. Now that's what the mid pulled. I'm going to put the mid back in and keep it just there. Now we're gonna stay right there, and we're gonna go to triode mode, same EQ, and I'm gonna bring the volume up just a hair to compensate for the. I'm gonna pull the reverb off. I'm gonna cut reverb just for the heck of it. Now I'm going to pull the mid boost out. All right, back to pentode. Just for the heck of it, and put the back to the Fendery sound. All right, totally dry, no reverb. Add a little reverb, Distortion. Okay. Triode mode maxed out, baby. Pull. Brody loves triode mode. All right, that's it for the Strat, huh?
Okay,
all right,
good.
Cool. All right, for the last guitar, we're going to have Brody just kind of have fun, and we're going to use a rocker guitar. It's a Carvin V220, and it's one of Brody's favorite rock guitars. And so we're just going to let him wail. We're going to set it in triode mode because Brody loves that, and also it allows us to just crank it up and not totally kill our ears. And I'm going to do the pull mid boost because he likes that. I'm going to leave this at 12 o'clock right now, but I might be tweaking it a little bit while he's playing. And here it goes. More?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to crank it all the way.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to say in closing. Brody's more of a rocker, as you can tell. And so a lot of what we've been focusing on is rock. But I have a lot of customers in my work because I'm an amplifier repair guy that's very busy, has lots of clients. And just the other day, I had a jazz guitar player named George anyway, hard to pronounce last name, Katsurilos, that's it. George Katsurilos, excellent guitar player. He brought in a beautiful old Gibson L5 hollow body jazz guitar, and he played for an hour in my shop and was just playing beautiful, sweet jazz through the amp, and he loved it to death. So it's not only appealing to rockers, but it's really appealing to people who are looking for soft, beautiful tones from their beautiful guitars. Anyway, in closing, we're done, and I just wanted you to know how magical this Ruby Ray amp is, and, go to the website, the Rubytube guys, and order one. Adios.